All right.
Hey, Jamie, how's it going?
Good. How about you, Chris?
Not too bad. So I was wondering, did you and your kids ever, you got two boys, you and your kids ever sit around watching Jurassic Park? movies?
We've seen them. I've seen a lot of them. I just, I don't know. No, I think I lost track around, I think, 15 or 16.
Were there that many? I only know about like maybe a half dozen.
It always
at the
seems
most.
like every 3 years there was a Jurassic Park movie coming out. Funny thing is, the company I own did some the lighting scenes in one of the Jurassic Park movies. I couldn't tell you if it was 84 or 36 or 27 or 12.
So you don't know. I mean, these must have been, they must have been indoor scenes, I take it?
Well, one was a control room, yeah. And all the lights in the control room are ours. And it's funny when they film it, I'm like, oh my God, that's a lot of lights in there. But, they didn't have half of them on. So, I think it was just for the aesthetics of it,
Because, I mean, most of it probably was filmed outside, I would guess.
Yeah, well, and this was like a control room that was kind of half inside, half outside, like covered by a ceiling. But I think the outsides of it were open. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but
well, that must have been pretty cool. So you and your kids didn't sit around and say, "Oh, those are my lights." And
I think I did say that to my kids, and my kids probably went, oh, "We don't care.
We don't care."
Whatever, Dad.
Yeah.
Like the usual, like, hey, your dad did this, or did that. Whatever, Dad. Your dad ran a marathon. Whatever, Dad.
Well, I mean, I used to always watch the horror movies and stuff, and sometimes the fun stuff was just how fake some of the stuff was.
Yeah,
if you're
right.
watching stuff from before 1970, especially. Like The Lost World, which is like 1930
or
something like that. Did you ever see that one?
I did, yeah.
And
yep.
I think one of the coolest things about Jurassic Park is that because CGI was getting really good at the time, and it was very convincing. It didn't look like some like claymation or whatever you call it, some toy that was moving around and stuff.
Some guy holding an airplane going,
exactly.
Oh, it's brother's getting rough,
like the original King Kong movie or something.
Right. King Kong's like,
but so some of it I thought was pretty cool. And did you have any favorite scenes? I mean, I really remember the first one the most, and I saw the other ones, but the first one I saw a number of times. I had a kid. One of my kids was, like a lot of little boys, he was obsessed with dinosaurs. He had at least 500 dinosaur toys. He would go to people's houses, and they'd be like, "Oh, you like dinosaurs?" And they'd like decide, like, "Oh, this is a good opportunity for me to get rid of these toys that my kid doesn't want anymore." So he'd come home and he had this massive collection.
Right.
At one time, we had this dinosaur rummage sale. And
mothers
from miles and miles came. It was just like the
Did
funniest
you put
sale.
Dino sale or something?
It was just like,
I'm sure like every
this is a yard sale.
Yeah.
It's all dinosaurs, nothing else.
Yeah, I hear you.
So it was kind of the funniest little.
My
sale.
kids weren't into that. They were into Star Wars and Legos and Pokemon and but
and So what do you think? I mean, there were some cool scenes, I thought. And my one kid being kind of an junior expert at some of the stuff. Like I remember one time, like the car's upside down.
Yeah.
The kids are sitting in it, and then the T-Rex kind of bends down.
Yeah.
And his eyes like looking off.
Breathing on them.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if they didn't move, it couldn't see them.
Yeah.
And so I'm not sure how we exactly know this about.
I remember that scene
about
actually.
T-Rexes and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was a pretty intense scene, right? So it's
right.
So there
and the Velociraptor, those things were kind of vicious,
right,
in the movie.
And then there was that one scene. Yeah, so Velociraptors, they look like total, like they weren't apex predators, but they were pretty serious predators.
Yeah.
But there was that one, it was like a Dilophosaurus, I think they're called, where it was like acting all cute. And there's that one guy, that Newman dude from Seinfeld.
Yeah, right.
And
Newman.
He was the guy who everyone didn't like.
Yeah, right.
And then he was like, "Oh,
He
you
played
stupid.
the
No wonder
same
why you're
kind of part
extinct."
in that movie
Right?
too.
Yeah,
Yeah, they didn't
exactly,
like him
right?
there
He
either.
plays a good bad guy.
Yeah.
And so then it like, but like it had this thing where it would like regurgitate on someone and it would have like acid in them.
Oh yeah, right.
Blind them and like just like mess them up, and then it would attack them.
Yeah,
That was
it's a
another good
defense mechanism, or
right?
yeah, right.
Exactly. And so, but you were at Hawaii.
Yeah, yeah.
So one of the things that I learned was that Jurassic Park was primarily filmed
In Hawaii,
A
right?
few locations, I think we're in the studio, but from my notes that I have, it says Kauai and Oahu.
Yep.
Were big places, and they talk about this Manawapuna Falls.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you did a
yeah,
good job pronouncing that. Manawapuna.
Right.
Yeah.
But so you saw this stuff.
Yeah. Just saw. We did a tour over in that area, and they talked about the Jurassic Park, episodes, and not that I was following any of that at the time, but yeah, it was Jurassic educational.
Yeah. Okay. I'm
so
sure they had a nice gift shop with dinosaurs.
yeah,
at the
right.
end.
Yeah. That I was gonna buy and contribute to your dinosaur sale or
Right,
dino
exactly.
sale.
Dino sale.
Yep.
Making all these little boys happy. So here's something that I saw. This is what made me think about this whole Jurassic Park thing. Is that I saw the story, and it says that scientists extracted viable RNA from over 40,000 years from a woolly mammoth, 40,000 years old.
Yeah.
And it was like one of these situations where somehow it died and it got buried in ice and it's been sitting there perfectly preserved for the whole time.
Kind of similar to the whole story of Jurassic Park. I mean,
Exactly.
if I remember right, wasn't it saved in some type of Arctic or glue or something that it was in, and
I
it
think it was
preserved?
some kind of glue that
Yeah.
kind of preserved it for so long. And so, that was the story. And so, because they're
Or
talking
sap,
about,
I think it was.
It even picked up the RNA. So the RNA, I think, contributes to the DNA.
Okay.
And it still has the genetic mapping and everything in it.
Uh-huh.
So, but RNA is much more fragile. So, I mean, that's how good this stuff is that they're able to actually get viable RNA out of it.
Yeah, right.
And so now they're talking about, and I've heard them talk about this in the past, where they're like, well, we can get this DNA out of these frozen woolly mammoths, and then we could probably merge it with an elephant because they're like an ancestor
Closest
of the elephant
cousin
something.
or right.
And you have this hybrid. But I think with the way science is now, I wouldn't be surprised if they could kind of grow it without the elephant. Maybe
Right.
I'm wrong, but
like an incubator baby, or what do they call that? Not incubator baby.
like test tube.
Tube baby. Yeah.
Yeah. So the it says the next logical step is someone trying to clone a woolly mammoth right now. And so, there's a lot of bioethics with that. It's funny because we try to preserve animals,
Right.
but then, there's this other
But bringing back
science.
the totally extinct to
Right.
functional animals.
And so what if you're like buzzing down the expressway and it's a woolly mammoth crossing?
Dang, woolly mammoth crossing. Come on. I bet you they could turn over some cars.
Right?
How
Exactly.
tall was a woolly mammoth? Is what I'm wondering. It had to
I
have
think
been
they were like
huge.
there's a museum in Kenosha, Wisconsin that has I think some skeletons because
Sure.
they found a bunch down there, and I think they're like 15 feet tall.
15
or something.
feet tall.
I
So
think-
about the size of a semi truck
I think
trailer.
humans, the Native Americans in North America and probably the Russians
Height.
in Siberia, they just all hunted them to extinction. I mean, that's quite a buffet. You like hit something like that, you get a lot of food
Yeah,
for a while.
right.
Especially if you're in Siberia, it's probably preserved pretty well for a while there. Too.
Yeah, right.
So anyways, so that's interesting. It's an ethical thing. Do we bring these things back?
Yeah, what
and
about
study
that?
them?
Bringing back these extinct animals to today. I mean, and aren't we kind of going through like a process of eliminating a lot of this?
Right.
A lot of do we really want a velociraptor coming in or a Tyrannosaurus Rex coming in and like stepping on your house or
Right, exactly, for the sake of science. You know,
Right.
at least in Jurassic Park, they had an island where they could kind of contain it. Maybe not the pterodactyls.
maybe it's
or
going to be the
whatever.
opposite, and instead of humans, that the dinosaurs will come back and extinct us.
Right, exactly.
You know,
That would be the biggest irony of Darwinism.
yeah, right. Reverse Darwinism, right?
So, anyways, that's very interesting. It'd be interesting to see how it.
Well, I'm hoping to
shapes
pet
out.
one at a petting zoo near
It's,
near you at the State Fair or something like that.
And you have to wonder, you know, it's like, so if we do have, you know, I read something the other day that was talking about, you know, the polar ice cap. You know, it's
Yeah.
like when we talk about the polar ice cap melting, you know, there's also, you know, I saw this thing, someone was like, well, you know, they took it at the highest level and they're claiming that's normal. So even though it was like lower before and it's obviously lower now, they're claiming that it's shrinking now and using it for that for their alarm.
Well, you know, and that's one of those things that always kind of bugs me. You know, it's like global warming. You know, and don't get me wrong, there is some validity to it, but I mean, we've been going through global warming for thousands of years.
Right. It
You
goes
know,
back and
before
forth.
we were driving cars, dinosaurs weren't driving cars, and
Right.
you know,
I mean, you know, 12,000 years ago, which I think was the peak of the ice age. You know, actually, just like I don't know, maybe a dozen years ago, off of Massachusetts, 200 miles off of Massachusetts, I think it was some scallop fishermen who were dragging their nets along the ocean floor over by this area called George's Bank, and they pull up a woolly mammoth tusk.
really,
You know, because back then that was all part of the landmass.
right,
You know,
right,
and so, but so you know, the stuff goes up, it goes down, everything's cyclical, and you know, whether or not there's man-made influence, I think is debatable. You know,
Yeah.
because for every action, there's also a reaction, and the Earth has a way of. You know, it's just like when you see these like oil spills. They're like, "Oh, this is going to be catastrophic for 500 years." Then all of a sudden, some kind of like bacteria comes out of nowhere and eats it all up, and they're like, "Well, nature kind of took care of it a lot faster."
right, right.
So, but you know, so as long as we continue to go down with the ice caps, it'll be interesting to see what else we find.
Right.
But that's the big difference between dinosaurs. I don't think we could ever get to dinosaurs because I don't think the Earth has been completely frozen. You know, it has had any area that was completely frozen for 64 million years.
Right,
You know,
right.
even Antarctica, they say, you know, used to have life on it.
Well, and you
It's-
wonder, like the whole technology side of this is the technology going to make us extinct because we just keep bringing in things like this and going, is this justifiable? Should we do this? Should we,
Right.
you know? And you're right. You know, there's certain things that nature takes care of for us. You know,
Right, exactly.
And you know, I always think it's kind of funny, and I know this is a little off subject, but you know, when you know, all these cruise ships and everything, they dumped human waste into the
Right.
drink. You know, they got to be, I think, 5 miles out of shore, and they can dump all their human waste out, and they can dump it. So, you know, like nature's taking care of that too. You know,
Right.
that type of pollution.
That's the
you know.
cycle of life.
Yeah,
right?
you know, I have a friend that says dilution is the solution to pollution, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, and in some ways he's right about that, you know, because if you spread it out, you know, the small particulates are kind of like not evaporating, but being taken care of by something else in the system.
Right. You've got your like the mussels, and you've got your clams. and
Right. You got your
scallops, and
fish, you know?
A lot of that, yeah. That's kind of like, you know, it's just like trees, right?
Right.
You know,
right.
it's like what we exhale, trees inhale.
Yeah.
You know, it's like kind of like a partnership in life.
I always think it's funny when like you go to a national park and they're like, "Do not pee," you know, and that's like, well, the bears are doing
I
it.
know.
You know, the mountain lions
I
are
heard bears
doing
doing
it.
something worse
You know,
than
it's like, yeah, you know, it's like, does a bear shit in the woods?
Yeah.
Well, of course he does, right? You know, does a human shit in the woods? Well, he could, but no, you know, the government tells us we can't do it, so I guess we can't.
So you've seen that in national parks, like no pee zones? or
Yeah, well,
something?
no, you know, like, you know, human waste kind of things, you know.
Right.
But, hey, if you're in San Francisco, you can do that all day long,
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, and
right?
then you just got to call the number and they'll come pick it up.
They'll come pick it up.
Yeah.
As opposed to being in a park where all that nitrogen could be used.
Right, feed the soil, feed the
floral.
land,
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting.
Speaking of feces, there's this story from Minnesota.
Yeah, that's
We got
you're talking about the Medicaid fraud story.
the Medicaid and other scams.
I mean, it seems constant with Minnesota, which is kind
Right?
of a joke, because the governor, as we all know, the governor ran for vice president with Kamala Harris.
Right, and so just to
Tampon Tim.
Just to clarify what we're talking about, I think there's an estimate of $1 billion of fraudulent money
$1 billion.
that may have gone to terrorist groups. in
Yeah, this is your
Somalia.
tax dollars hard at work.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So that means that.
Thanks, Tim.
and Tim Waltz, I saw him on TV today. He was talking, well, if the feds want to help us out, they're more than welcome, but they shouldn't sit on the sidelines and throw stones. It's like, I don't think they are. I think they're going in.
Hey, take care of your business, Tim.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of like the Chicago mayor. People aren't killing everyone.
So Tim Waltz, the self-proclaimed
Yeah.
knucklehead, right?
Oh my God.
We should call him the tampon terrorist now, right? From tampon Tim to the tampon terrorist. But,
Yeah.
So here's some
Or
stats.
terrorist Tim.
Terrorist Tim.
Yeah.
So Minnesota has the largest Somali population in the United States. Minnesota has widespread fraud issues in government programs from Feeding the Future, Medicaid, and Medicaid, which usually gets funded, but this isn't like isolated to money from the state of Minnesota, because a lot of Medicaid programs are subsidized by the federal government. That's
and here's the thought: are we just scratching the surface on this at this point?
right. Possibly. This is so massive fraud in many government programs.
200 million. I'm feeding our future.
Right?
Yeah, 250. Yeah.
You got fake kids and fake meals. And one of the problems is that, I remember, I think it was back in like 2018, there was some guy, some Somali guy caught at the Minneapolis airport with a suitcase with like, $1 million in it. or
I
something.
remember that.
He's
yeah.
taking it back, and so it's not like this just happened. This has been going on, and these government people look the other way. It's like,
right.
well, too bad. It's like,
Did I see a federal
taxpayers.
judge put something out that that he was kind of exonerating these people?
I did not hear.
And then I saw the sheriff, spineless sheriff, pretty much kissing these people's asses.
Minneapolis or whatever
and I'm
county it
like,
is.
wait a minute, dude. We know it's not all of them. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But you know what? Shut up until you figure it out.
Right. I know, right? And so, actually, here's a little statistic. It says the FBI says at least $100 million of stolen money was wired to Al-Shabaab, which is the terrorist group.
Wonderful.
And they have links to Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda, yeah.
So it's this is horrible. I mean, if I were been a Minnesota taxpayer, I'd be so outraged about this right now.
Yeah. So how does this fraud happen? I mean, how do we let this go?
Right.
And how do we...
and I think you get it.
How did they figure it out in the first place? I mean...
Well, I think that finally we have a federal government that's willing to look into this, because I have a feeling this has been going on for years.
Yeah.
But some people didn't want to have the scandal happen on their watches.
Yeah.
And so they look the other direction, right?
It's funny. What I see a statistic in here that on Somalia, 25% of Somalia's GDP comes from remittance from Somalians living abroad,
Right.
with those in the United States being a big part of that. So,
Right.
I mean, it's saying that 25% of their GDP comes from us.
Right.
So
25% probably comes from pirates.
Yeah, right. Right, Somalian pirates.
Do they have any legitimate businesses in
Yeah.
Somalia?
I'm not sure. It's funny. I watched a YouTube thing on, there's Somalia, and then there's Somalia country or something. They name it something else.
Okay.
And it's inside Somalia, and this is actually a decent country
that
Somalia wraps around, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head right now. I'll have to go look it up.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
as
it's,
one would say. The you know, when you say how does this happen, I swear I see on the news. We're not in Minnesota. I don't know how much it happens over there, but I see it on the news where all of a sudden, like, you see this daycare that's getting all the state money. They set up shop and they say, oh, we've got 150 kids here coming here every day, and they start getting all the and they're all impoverished kids, and so they get all the state money. And then all of a sudden you see the raids happen, and all of a sudden, like, oh, this person stole $3 million from the state by lying that they were taking care of kids when they weren't. And so it's probably the same thing in Minnesota. People set up these fake businesses. They say, maybe they have some insiders, who knows, that say, yeah, we'll vouch for you. And then they start saying, oh, we've got all these kids. The kids don't exist. And they just get lots and lots of government money.
Right.
And
right.
So here's a little information about Al-Shabaab. Is an official affiliate of Al-Qaeda. In 2012, Al-Shabaab publicly pledged allegiance to Al-Qaeda's leader. Al-Qaeda formally accepted them as an affiliate. Let's see. What does the connection mean? Al-Shabaab shares Al-Qaeda's ideology, global jihad. Let's see. They coordinate on strategy, propaganda, training, and sometimes funding. Let's see. Al-Shabaab is considered Al-Qaeda's branch in Eastern Africa, which is where Somalia is.
Right.
So that's a big stain, and Tim Walz doesn't seem to sound too sorry. He sounds like he's on the defensive, trying to cover his ass at this point.
Yeah, well, that seems to be usual for Tim.
Right.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem to get his shit together, and doesn't care. I just don't. I don't understand. You find this kind of like egregious. Is it egregious? The
egregious abuse.
Egregious. Yeah.
And so. And that's Tim Walz, right?
And you don't care.
Like, I was in Tiananmen Square. I served in the military. And all of a sudden you find out it's bullshit. And he's like, well, sometimes I can be a real knucklehead when I talk off the cuff.
Yeah.
Those are...
like your uncle being eaten by cannibals.
I don't know about you Minnesotans, but I don't know how you could elect a guy like that. So
yeah, let's hope you don't re-elect a guy like that.
So here's something.
But I hear he's going to run for president, so I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to get very far this time. Because even when he was running, I'm like, this guy is the ultimate doofus. I mean, he
had no clue.
He's a total
and then he was
doofus.
like, oh, I'm not really good at debating, and I'm not really good at debating either. It seems like I lose my train of thought.
J.D. Vance really wiped the floor with him.
Oh my God! And it's like hard to go up against that guy because he is just gonna kick the crap out of anyone who gets in front of him.
He's a guy who has.
He's well composed.
The guy who has achieved through a meritocracy instead of political connections. So.
Right.
So okay, speaking of Minnesota, I decided to make one of those lists. You're from Minnesota when. You think Tim Walz is a good guy?
Well, yeah, I guess. So, and I can tell you, I got a lot of relatives in Minnesota, and it's funny, none of those relatives seem to like him, but, somehow he gets reelected. I don't know.
How about this? This isn't on the list.
Yeah.
You're used to seeing tampons in the bathrooms.
Yeah, the men's room.
The men's bathrooms.
Yeah. Which, by the way, come to think of about that, I was in Boston.
Yeah.
And, just an off subject here. I was in Boston. My kid wanted to go. He's a big climber, so he wanted to go to this climbing gym, right? Mm-hmm. And I walk into the men's bathroom, right? And I'm like going over, and I look over towards the vanity, and there's a basket of tampons.
Really?
And when you walk into a bathroom and you see a basket of tampons,
I'd be like,
what do you automatically think?
I automatically would look for a urinal to make sure I'm in the right place.
Exactly, right? I'm like, am I in the right? So there was a urinal, but then I had to back out of the bathroom and I had to look at the door again, and I'm like, men. And I'm like, I go back in and I'm like, who's taking the tampons?
Right.
I'm like,
I know there probably wasn't one taken unless some kids took one.
no.
To, like, screw around
I guess you
with.
never have to restock. You know,
I know,
you
right?
know,
You
like,
just have to dust them once in a while.
right. I was just shocked in
Right?
Boston. I'm
Where
like,
in Boston?
I have no idea the town. He was just wanted to go to this climbing place. I was like, yeah, it was yeah. So we went there, and yeah, it was crazy.
So-
Never did I see that up until that day.
Here's the official list.
Okay, official list, unofficial official
You
list.
consider 40 degrees warm enough for shorts.
Yeah, that's a Wisconsin
I'm
thing
pretty
too.
close to that. I mean, I'm good at 50.
I'm at 50 as well.
Actually, I'm at 50 in spring. You know, it kind of pushes it in like fall. Though.
Yeah, because it's a
When
little
your body's
damper.
adjusting back. You know.
Yeah.
So, you've ever said it's not the cold, it's the wind while your eyeballs freeze
Yeah,
shut.
I've seen that.
You measure the distance in minutes from the lake. They have 10,000 of
Yeah,
them. so
10,000
it's-
minutes from what lake?
Right, exactly. Let's see. You've used a snowmobile to go get more beer in February.
Right.
I could see those folks doing
Which is
that.
funny on the snowmobile side, right? I know I have a friend up in Alaska. I haven't talked to him for a while.
They use
and-
sled dogs, though, don't
Yeah,
they?
well, yeah, but he always calls it a snow machine.
Yeah,
They don't
snow
even call it a snowmobile. So,
Really?
yeah, so that might be Alaska thing, right? You
Right,
know,
right.
but he's all up in Bethel, Alaska.
Well, they have like 50 words for snow up there, too, so maybe it's
Oh, do they really?
distinction.
Yeah.
Well, they say the Inuit, dude.
Oh, he's an Eskimo for sure.
He is an Eskimo.
Yeah, he is an Eskimo.
I saw a thing once, not to get off topic, but I did see a thing once, and we should look into this. Where people, you know, they're so used to the cold that, like, the real cold, like, you know, maybe if you're up by, like, Barron, Alaska, or
Sure.
Barrow, Alaska, or whatever, you know, people are going to, like, the high school football games, and it's, like, 40 below out. And they're okay with that. You
Right.
know, it's just, it's crazy, right? But, you know what? They're good at it.
Yeah.
They're good like that. So,
Yeah.
You've had serious debates about hot dish versus casserole. I got the hot dish. No, actually,
Yeah.
it's a southern accent.
My wife is a
I can't
hot
do
dish.
The Nordic accent that they have. Hot. Ope is a complete sentence.
I don't even know what ope is.
That must be like Swedish or something, like some Swedish derivative.
Ope. I thought
you-
they were Somalia up there.
Right? Only part of them. Yeah, and that's in Minneapolis. I think the rest of them are pretty much all Nordic folks. Let's see. You know what ufta means?
I have no
You
idea.
use it regularly. So that's got to be
Ufta?
some Nordic thing also, right? Or some like Swedish.
Someone fill us in on what ufta
Nordic
is.
thing, yeah. Ufta.
Ufta.
I've seen that on stickers. Like I think they say that up in the UP of Wisconsin.
I have
too.
no idea what that is.
You can pronounce. Let's see.
Mul-
Matomede? I'm not sure. Wazena or Edina? I know Edina. I've heard Edina before.
What's a Dinah?
These are cities.
Oh, these are cities.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Edina.
Okay.
Yeah, you've played Duck Duck,
Gray
Duck.
goose? Gray duck. Yeah. Not
played-
duck, duck, goose.
Oh, you've played Duck Duck, Gray Duck, not Duck Duck Goose. So that's their distinction. Maybe they have no geese. I'm sure they have geese up there.
I would think. Canadian.
Your idea of a cultural experience is a state fair on a stick.
Fried. I'll add that.
Fried pickles, fried
Onions, fried everything.
candy
Yeah.
bars. You know, it's, let's see. You measure distance and time,
Not miles.
not miles.
It's about 20. You know what? But I do that. It's about 20 minutes away.
20
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah.
You own. Let's see. Well, we were talking about Texas. They do that too, but I think they measure in hours.
Yeah.
Let's see. You own at least 3 types of winter coats for different
Yeah, but
temperature
I
ranges.
have those too
You know,
here.
you got your ones that are like, you know,
Lighter.
well, it's like 35 out and 20, and then you've got your like 0-degree weather, right?
Right.
You've apologized to furniture after bumping into it. That's Minnesota nice, I guess. Holy
I
cow.
guess, yeah.
Oh, speaking of Minnesota nice, Minnesota nice means you'll help push a stranger's car out of the snow while passive aggressively judging their tire choice. Well, I mean, talking to people in Minnesota when I was a student, that was the first time I ever heard the term whiteout. You know, they talk about, oh, we have these whiteouts you can't even see when you're driving down the road. And
Isn't that what you use to correct typing errors?
right? Yes, liquid paper or whatever, right?
Whiteout.
You unironically love Juicy Lucy's and Prince in equal measures. So
I don't know what Juicy Lucy's
we know
is.
who Prince is.
Yeah.
The artist formerly known as Prince. But not Juicy Lucy's. That must be one of their chains up there, probably fast food or something. You know, so
Yeah, must
so
be.
that's kind of Minnesota in a nutshell.
Yeah, seems like it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of any good Minnesota experiences I've had lately.
Mm-hmm.
But did go up there to Mall of America.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a big place. It seems to...
Minnesota seems to be oddly progressive, though.
yeah.
You know, and I think it's probably because I always say that, you know, when you live in like a community, you know, they probably, I mean, I think it's changed over the years, but, you know, they probably like, I think for a long time they really didn't have much crime or whatever. It's easy to be like a real liberal progressive like they are in Sweden and stuff if you don't have the hard crime in that. I mean, you know, they've produced Walter Mondale and was Herbert Hoover not Herbert Hoover. He was from Iowa. Hubert Humphrey. I think he was from there. Minnesota was the only state that didn't vote for Ronald Reagan in 1984.
Oh, really?
Ronald Reagan
So he
won
swept them all,
49
except for that.
Yeah. But Mondale was from there, so he had kind of like the home state advantage there, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of weird, but I don't know. You know, I've been up there. I've been up to, what's that top point? I can't think about it. There's like a peak. They call themselves like America's Icebox. Maybe it's like International Falls or something.
Oh,
like
yeah, that is up that way, yeah.
Yeah, it's like this little thing, bump up that goes beyond the 40th parallel.
Okay.
Whatever it is. And,
Yeah, I've been meaning to go up there and check out some lakes. I flew into Minnesota a few weeks back. I flew into the Twin Cities and then stopped and dropped a guy off and flew home. So I was just doing a guy a favor, but
okay.
yeah, but yeah.
I guess that's all I got for the day.
Yeah, so remember, folks, don't be an idiot. Watch Jurassic Park. Appreciate scientific breakthroughs. Demand government accountability.
Especially you folks in Minnesota.
Yeah, and Minnesota, nufda at least
Hopefully
once a day.
Hopefully that's not an insult.
Yeah, well, you know, if it is, you don't like me, I don't care. But I'm sure Chris does. But, you know, please watch us, comment, thumbs up, thumbs down. I don't care what you do. But I appreciate the next episode coming up. And let us know what we can do to be better or be worse.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That seems short. Was that short or was that long?
I don't know. I do not know.
God, that was nice being able to rail up Tim Waltz.
Yeah.
Fucking goober.
I think, I don't think I've stopped recording.